Now, our focus clearly is to look after the interests of all Singaporeans. And in the process, we take a multi-pronged approach to build a Singaporean core in the workforce. So the critical issue really in the long term is how do we develop, how do we raise the capabilities of Singaporeans, and how do we calibrate our work pass framework to ensure that foreign workers complement and not just substitute Singaporean workers. That's important. We essentially have two broad strategies, and I'll sketch it out. Firstly is how do we develop a core of Singaporeans in our workforce. First and foremost, I think training, coming in the form of pre-employment training and continuing education and training forms an important pillar in this process. We will continue to strengthen this and enhance the initiatives in this framework. For example, we are strengthening workfare training support for the low-wage workers. We also have in place skills training for excellence program or STEP, which is largely geared towards the PMEs. Now, secondly, we develop a Singaporean core also by working with agencies, for example, like MAS, who works with financial institutions to co-fund programs to nurture young Singaporeans in that sector. Thirdly, we also look at developing a Singaporean core by actually employment facilitation. So we strengthen government-funded employment facilitation and career conversion programs to help unemployed Singaporeans and Singaporeans who wish to change careers, and including PMEs, of which Calibre Link, which we talked about last year, was an important step in that direction. The second part in our effort lies with how we structure our work pass and our foreign manpower framework. As we're all familiar, we have put in place a series of changes in terms of the foreign worker levy, as well as changes to the dependency ratio ceilings. So changes are being made at the work permit, S-pass, and employment pass levels. Now, the S-pass levels and employment pass levels particularly will have an impact on our PMEs. And the idea really is to, like I said earlier, how do we structure it so that it complements our workforce, and how do we also ensure that it's a level playing field. And this is something that I will be addressing fully next week at COS. At the employment pass level, I think we have already taken some steps last year in terms of restructuring the employment pass framework, where we factor in not just entry level pay, but also tiering it to take account experience. And this is important because it also ensures a more level playing field for Singaporeans. And we've extended this change into the S-pass framework as well. A new area that we're looking at would be to actually look at the way other countries also implement some of their entry for foreign talent at the employment pass level category. So we want to look at how to make sure that Singaporeans are given fair consideration in the hiring process. The principle of not discriminating against Singaporean workers should similarly apply in downsizing exercises. Now, TAFEP requires firms to make reasonable efforts to train and develop the Singaporean core. And as mentioned during the white paper debate on population, we already are putting in place a process where we will investigate non-compliance with the guidelines, and if proven, we will curtail work pass privileges. The tripartite guidelines on managing excess manpower also urge companies to consider other alternatives to managing excess manpower, and retrenchment as a last resort. And if retrenchment is still necessary, after considering other options, the company concerned should carry out the retrenchment exercise responsibly. So this includes consulting relevant union and the affected workers, as well as helping the workers look for alternative jobs. In previous downturns, employers have cut back more sharply on foreign workforce as compared to the local one. Over the 2009 downturn, foreign employment levels fell, while resident employment levels continued to grow, although more gradually. This same trend was seen in previous downturns in 2001, which is post-911, and 2003 during the SARS period. So during the last downturn, there are also steps that we put in place to assist our workers to stay employed. The government launched a skills program for upgrading and resilience, a SPUR, to help employers manage their manpower costs and save jobs through providing high levels of support for employers to send their local workers for training. This also helped companies to upgrade their workers during the downturn and build capabilities for them to search when the economic conditions recover. In addition, there was also the important jobs credit scheme where they receive cash grant for workers on their CPF payroll. So both SPUR and JCS during that period were particularly important initiatives in helping to make sure that our workers at all levels stayed employed. So these are tools in our toolbox that we can draw on, or variants of that as the case may be, depending on the economic situation in the years to come. But I think the most important point to emphasize really is that the best way to ensure that Singaporean workers, Singaporean PMEs remain meaningfully employed is to really to make sure that our economy remains healthy and vibrant, and that Singaporeans are also equipped with the right attitude and aptitudes and skills. So strengthening the Singaporean core will be one of our key focus for our ministry in this coming year, and this is something that, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking in greater detail at the MOM Committee of Supply debate. Thank you.